end, right?
Yes, 1 p.m.
We are live. We are live.
Yeah.
Okay, so usually I will wait for a few minutes, 5 minutes
Okay.
at the least, so that people will join. I see has been waiting here for so long. Hi, Amos. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. Remember to share this link. Share this link to your friends and all the people that applied for Chevening scholarship and those who are interested in applying, because we're going to be spilling facts. Sorry that
Yeah.
I'm looking down. I am typing on my laptop.
Okay.
Because once we start, we're not going to wait for anybody. And when they come, they'll usually come and ask questions that has already been addressed.
Been discussed.
So
Yeah.
I like to just wait for like 5 minutes. We're going to start. This live session is going to be long. Do you see the questions?
Yeah, I saw them. I saw them.
It's quite long, and I know that we may still get questions from the audience. That's why
Yes.
I chose to do this live, because sometimes if I want to sit down and do a video on these things, it may have to be like up to 5 different parts.
Mm,
And people, it's not the same as a live session, and listening to a scholar is definitely different
yeah.
than just getting the information and sharing. So yes, this live session is very important, and thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for accepting to do this, because I know you're busy. You just finished your exams, right?
Yeah. And the 20th of January. So
You're going
and
to
I
tell
was
us about it. You're going to
and I
tell us
was,
much
yeah.
later.
And second time I started this Monday as well. So it's been like back to back.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
That's the thing about 1 year master's degree.
Hmm.
It's a whole lot, but yeah, you get
Intense.
it. It's very intense.
Yeah.
Um, well, it has its advantages, right? Because I also know colleagues of mine who did or who are currently on a 2 year master's degree and are complaining. Because
Yeah.
in a 2 year master's degree, there's a time you have up to like 3 months break depending on your specialty. A friend of
Yeah.
mine who did a 2 year master's degree in healthcare, she had like 3 months break. But we didn't have that kind of break. Our break
Yeah.
is 1 week.
1 week.
So
And I'd
it's
rather just get it over with because when things move fast, you can, okay, you plan well. When you think you have a long time to plan, you may
mm-hmm.
want to relax for a bit and
Yeah.
say, okay, I might as well just take time off, and that time off might be detrimental in the long run. So, yes,
Well, some people just want to breathe in between their
exactly.
programs. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Please introduce yourself in the chat box. I am watching the chat box here. If you're watching us, introduce yourself. Let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know if you applied for Chevening, and if you did, have you gotten your admission? Have you uploaded your conditional offers? What is the status of your English language required? Just let us chat in this, the comment section. Let us engage each other. And if you have any questions, keep it for Mario, because he's definitely going to slash it. I see that he's very prepared. Yay. Ah. Okay, so we have 1 more minute to go. Welcome everyone. It's only Amos Commander that said hello in this chat box. So you guys will not even say hello to us. It's not nice. Say hello to us. Where are you joining us from? What is the weather like there? How is winter in London?
Um, hmm. So it's not, I mean, it's cold, but I've realized what I need to do to not get
That
affected by
cold,
it.
right?
If I'm heading out, I know I have to dress extra warm. I have my thermals,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I dress warm when I'm in the house. When I'm in the flat, my heater's on, and I stay indoors for the most part. So if it's cold, I know to close the windows, turn the heater
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's
But I
that's good,
wouldn't, but I
because
wouldn't want to be outside for too long
for
because
too long, yeah.
it gets really cold.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good because according to people, according to wise sayings, there's no bad weather, just bad
Mm,
dressing, right? So you have
exactly.
this for the moment. So Purple Pixie said, I'm in Abuja, that's Nigeria, and I
Yes.
applied for the Chevening scholarship. I have gotten a conditional offer.
Oh,
Congratulations.
that's good.
She
Congrats.
says, I'm hopeful, said, but I'm hopefully my three choices will send an offer because I know to like the school that sent the conditional offer. You will get the offer. You still have enough time.
Yeah, this time.
Yeah. Ntotse said, hello everyone. Joining from Lesotho. Hi. How's Lesotho? How's the
Oh,
weather? Welcome to the session. See, good people are joining on time because they want to get all the juice. And we are going to start. We've exhausted our 5 minutes already.
yeah.
All right. Thank you so much once again, Mario, for joining. Could you just tell us a bit about yourself, tell us your background, and let us just have an idea who we're going to be conversing with today?
Okay. Thanks for inviting me, first of all. I'm Mario McKay. I'm Sierra Leonean. I'm born and raised, so I've been there my entire life. Um, Gone to school, university, and then even worked there for a while. So I'm a lawyer. I got called to the bar in 2018.
I didn't know that.
Uh, oh yes. So I worked for a bit at a law firm. I did my pupillage, but after completion of my pupillage, I moved to a government agency that was set up to assist government with tech solutions. So, and I worked there as a project support officer and a policy analyst. So I've been at heart, I describe myself as a creative at heart, and the things I've always been interested in, despite being a lawyer, or even before becoming a lawyer, I've always been interested in the arts and tech.
Mm,
So, and moving into the government agency was called DSTI, actually the Directorate of Science, Technology, and Innovation, working as a policy analyst. It was basically to you have certain things where you might be curious or you have a genuine interest in. So it was
mhm.
me telling myself, okay, let's see if I can take this a step further. Whereas I'm just interested in this, can I make a career out of it? So I'm like, okay, let me make this transition. And I found out it was something I was genuinely interested in and I could put in the work to make things happen. So, as a policy analyst, I work with ministries, departments, and agencies. When software was being built for them, I liaise with them as a project manager on some of the projects. Also, the laws, regulations, or any policies that would apply. Even when not all of them existed, but we made sure to find things they had to comply with. Um,
Yeah.
so that's a bit of what I've done. Then I applied from that to for the evening, and I'm here now.
So what are you studying?
So I'm doing an LLM in technology, media, and telecoms law. The goal
Not
is to
as
be a
much.
yes, and I'm a Queen Mary where you attended yourself. And yes, the aim is to be a tech lawyer, and hopefully things go work well.
Let me use
Yeah,
the Nigerian slang here. Oshe.
yeah.
Wow, interesting to know that we have similar, should I say similar background and experience? Because I also, okay,
Okay,
so I was called, we have the same call years because I was,
okay,
okay, no, I was called in 2017, December.
okay,
So
okay.
just 1 month to 2018. And then I also started off in a law firm,
Yeah.
right? And then I thereafter went to a government nonprofit organization for policy development as well. So I was literally reviewing policies, laws, and all of that. Interesting.
Quite
And
similar.
I also
And
attended
Queen May
Queen.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a lot in common.
Hmm.
So great. This is going to be very impressive. Okay. So we're having a lot of participants. They're saying, Deka says, same thing here. I got offers from the school I didn't expect from. Okay, don't worry, guys. You have enough
There's
time. You're
time. There's
definitely
time.
going to get
Yeah.
your offers.
Hmm.
Anita says, I applied for Chevening scholarship last year and I have received 2 unconditional offers already. Nice. That is very good. Congratulations. Okay. Now, before we go into your Chevening scholarship experience, I want to believe that you know, our audience would like to get some tips, interview tips from you. I no longer
Yeah.
want to share my interview tips because that's like a while ago. So let us get
Yeah.
fresh interview tips. And you all know I have a whole Chevening playlist on my channel, so that is not even a topic for discussion today. So Mario, you're going to share with us how you prepared for your interview.
Okay. Um, so the first thing I did after I'd submitted, after I got the email that I made it to the next stage, I made sure I distilled the main points of all of my essays. So the networking, the main points, the key points, I knew I made bullet points of them, and I made a mental note that if asked about these things, I could easily expand. So leadership, networking, why I want to study in the UK, and my future career plans. Additionally, what I did was I paid attention to certain things that were ongoing around the British High Commission um, community
Yeah.
in the country. So there's one thing that I realized: the British Council was closing. I think a day or two after, or a couple days after my interview. So I made a mental note of that because they also want to know um, how you're in touch with things going on with their mission as well,
Yeah.
because they're emissaries, and it's not just about caring about what you want to do. It's also when having this chat, when you're answering their questions, making them understand, oh, I know a couple things that you're doing which align with what I'm doing as well. So but most importantly, make sure you can answer the questions which would mostly relate to your the essay. So distill, like for every essay, have like 5 points you can expand on as and when called on, because you're called in to the interviews based on what you've written,
Yeah.
but anyone can write for you. Now, to articulate what's being written, it's another ball game.
Wisdom.
Yeah, because the manner in which you would say certain things and the way you would articulate, like so there's one question I got asked which was really interesting. Say, have you at any point helped someone achieve their goals? And it came from the angle of leadership, but they will
Yeah.
not ask you directly, or what have you
Definitely.
done as a leader? No, they wouldn't ask you that. So the example I gave, like I mentioned earlier, I was on a podcast called Plaza Sempoyo, and I mentioned, oh, I was in the because I started it with my cousin and a friend. I was in the club with my cousin, and she had just come back from the UK. She relocated to Sierra Leone for a while, and then we had a chat about podcasting. And she said, "Oh, I would love to get a podcast." So I said, "Oh, I thought of the same, so we could do that." And together we worked on putting together a plan, having a guest list for the first season. So it's not necessarily having to say push someone to do something on their own. You could work on it together, and you
Yeah.
have collaborated with them to achieve a dream.
Yeah.
But the way you would answer that, if you were not the one that did
Wrote
your
it.
essay,
Mm-hmm.
wrote your essay, to articulate it in that manner, you may forget to mention or tie it to the essay you wrote. So make sure
Mm,
whatever is being asked, make sure you tie it to the essay, because it's you're going to defend what you've put out. So
exactly.
make sure you tie or what you're going to say, but tie it back to the essay. Yeah.
Correct. Actually. Oh wow, that's interesting. I usually forget the fact that people can actually outsource their essay writing, which is very
Yeah.
strange to me. You have to be the one to articulate your ideas. When
Mhm.
the ideas are yours, it is your story. You have to share it in your
Exactly.
own particular way. I don't think Chevening looks for a specific way that applicants should write an essay. They just need to see the impact you've done. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's interesting. So based on what Mario has said, tie everything back to your essay. Don't regurgitate your essays word for word. They have read it already.
Yeah.
but
If I
show
may,
that
if I
yes,
may, sorry, if I may,
yes.
what they want to do with the interview, from what I gather,
Mm-hmm.
is they want you to provide more context. Because when
Yeah,
you're writing, you have limited word count. It's
500 words.
500 words. There's so much more you could say. Obviously, don't ramble on for too long, but make sure where you would have given them a tip of the iceberg or like a summary with your essay, you could go further and then say, okay, this even impacted more people beyond what I could
Mm-hmm.
include in my essay. So add context.
Yeah, and then you can also give an update, because you submit this, the
A
before you
couple
submit,
months.
the period is like 6 months gap, right? Three, four,
Yeah.
5, 6 months gap to your interview. The project you said you're working on, has there been any impact, or has there been any updates? Do we have
Yeah.
more numbers, more data? So yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for that tip. We have a lot of people joining now.
One
uh
more tip I may want to add before you move on to the next question
please go ahead.
is um, be natural. Don't go in there feeling too scared. You're going to talk to humans like yourself. So when I was going in the morning, I went to the gym. I needed to calm myself down, and I kept telling myself, I mean, whenever I have to go to an interview or speak with someone, I keep telling myself, it's flesh and blood like you. I mean, at the end of exactly, because we
It's
we
not
take
that
this.
simple.
Yes, so I went there. I wanted to show um, personality as well, show some humor, and I made sure when I could make a light joke just so they know we're
Yeah,
not talking to a
like,
stiff person,
yeah,
because the entire point of Chevening is it's a leadership scholarship.
yep,
They don't necessarily look for academics. You could be an academic, that's fine, but they
that's
need to know,
right.
okay, if we put you in a room full of people on a subject you are not aware of or you're not knowledgeable in, you should still be able to communicate what you know. And
Yep.
yeah, so yeah.
As you have heard, Chevening is a leadership scholarship. So if you are selected for interview, just know that you have passed the first hurdle. It means they saw something in you. So what you're going to do at the interview is tell your story, take ownership of that thing you wrote. Take ownership and let them know, break it down, show them that it is yours. There is no, don't try to be who you are not. Just like he said, be yourself. I was myself during my interview. I was just sharing my own stuff. So be yourself. Don't try to hard to impress. Okay. Before you were invited to that table, they saw something in you. So just try to ensure that whatever you wrote down there, you give more context, more data, more explanation, and try to show them how passionate you are about your industry. And just like what Mario said, also demonstrates knowledge of what the British Council is doing in your country. It also helps. Okay, this is interesting. Now, Mario, during your interview, was there any? Okay, before then, the next question I have here is, can you share some of your interview questions, and also in answering that question, tell us, was there any question that took you unawares?
Okay, so yes, a couple of them. There's one after going through the essays, they said, "Oh, it appears you do a lot of things. How do you juggle all of this?" And that was one. So I'll go through the questions I can think of the top, then I'll one by one, I'll just go in depth on how I answer them. Um, they asked the project you're working on now, because there's a project I was involved in actively before applying, which I included in the application. How do you think that's beneficial to the country? Also, they asked why this course. I mean, do you think we need tech lawyers now, lawyers who can understand what's going on in the tech space? And why I wanted to study in the UK and why I chose the schools I chose and my future plans. The one I did not expect was, oh, how are you juggling all of these things? Because in my head, I'm like, you're the ones who say you should have a board based of things you do. It makes you an
Yeah.
interesting character. Now I'm being asked how I juggle all of these. But what I said was my response was I said, when you the way I network, or my I don't go out necessarily to say, oh, I'm going to network. In my head, I categorize people I know based on different interests. So what
Mm,
I said there are people I know through football. I know they have an interest in football. There are people I know who have an interest in tech. There are
mhm,
people I know who have an interest in education, for example. I said the way I've been able to juggle all of this is involving people in the things they are naturally
int-
interested in, as opposed to someone who's interested in tech,
mhm,
forcing them to be involved in football. Obviously, this is a very generalized answer because there are people who would be interested in both. So I said, always find what people are naturally interested in,
mhm,
and you
and
can then say,
engage them.
okay, there's a thing we could collaborate. And I said, that's how I've always worked. And all the things I've done so far, I've done
Mhm,
them because I have, it's not a one-man thing. They've contributed to these things equally as I have. So it's I build communities around the things I like. And I think
mhm.
that's proved there was some networking and some leadership in the answer as well. So that was an interesting question I received. Um, Another one which I think I had prepared for, and this, by the way, is a tip that you could use. They ask, oh, why? So when they ask, why do you want to study in the UK? Similarly, in your answer and the essay answer, you're meant to, yes, you would mention why you want to study in the UK, but then you're meant to um, answer, give the schools you're applying to because they would want to know. Obviously, the schools are in the UK. So what I did, I made sure I went through the website of the schools I wanted to apply to. I made sure I listened to YouTube videos from university vloggers who say, okay, this is what it's like attending King's College. This is what it's like attending Queen Mary. So I made pointers of them. Then I also had names of lecturers who taught interesting topics. So I noted them down. And when they asked why do you want to study in the UK, the first thing I started off with that okay, there's a lot of investment going into technology in the UK, and obviously because we're a Commonwealth country, our laws are modeled after after Great Britain. So there's a blueprint which I can model certain things on
If
after
oh, thank God
having
we're back. Sorry, we
yeah.
lost you. In fact, we lost ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. I said so there's similar laws. And I said if I go to the UK, what I'll be picking up is how they've been able to leverage their human resources to improve their tech, their capacity to push tech. And then I moved to the schools. Instead of just saying this school is the top rated school, I mean everyone is applying for a top
Everyone is
rated school.
going to say that.
Exactly. What I did was, so for each school, I had the name of a Sierra Leonean that had attended the school, and
Ooh,
they were really surprised because one of the schools, a vice president had attended, and I said, okay, that's how much I know about the schools,
the school.
and I said, since I just come back from the gym, mind you, you're saying all of these things, but try to make it as conversational as
That's
possible,
possible. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you don't want to sound as if you've crammed things and you're poor regurgitating. So I said,
Yeah.
oh, I like going to the gym. I said even before coming to the interview or even when I was applying, I went on a virtual tour on Queen May's website, how their gym looks like, and it's a place I would like. I said, when applying, Queen Mary has a podcast, and I used to be on a podcast. It's a match
Mm-hmm,
made in heaven. So when you
mm-hmm.
say these things, it's not necessarily what people might want to say or what people might want to think of.
Yeah.
We'll just go and list the academic achievements, but that's the information that everyone can find. Yes, add those, but also move a step further, add interesting things. And when I mentioned Sierra Leoneans, I had gone to all of these schools, they said I didn't know that. So it was really it was really interesting to see their response. And
Yeah.
so be deliberate how you research about these schools. Yes, you see things on the website, but check YouTube, listen to podcasts of these schools. So just note certain things down, and then during the interview you can tell them, because you may not be able to write all of that in the essays.
I'm glad that you're saying these things and it's not coming from my mouth, because these are actually the kind of things I share on the channel. You have to take ownership, okay? Do your own personal research. They are not asking you, why is this university good? They are asking you, why do you choose
You,
this
yeah,
university?
because everyone knows the university is good. No one is going to say, "Oh,
Exactly.
I'm applying to this because it's the one I can get into." No one is going to write
No,
that.
yeah.
Exactly.
So you have to be able to personalize the experience.
Yeah.
And for me, I remember one of the examples I shared. I mentioned, I had read a book. I studied dispute resolution. I had read an article on mediation from one of the professors before I
Oh,
applied. Before I applied. So when I now applied, I was like, this professor is in this department. So I went in checking, and I
connect
found
it.
that she was going to be teaching one of the courses. Well, during my interview, I told them that I want to go and see this professor. I have read her book before, and to even find out that she's in my department and she's going to be lecturing me, that is what I want. You have to, not everybody would say that. And you that you
You
are
have
in
to make the connection. You have
yeah,
to make the
you that you are
connection.
in tech media law, you can't say that because that professor is not in your department. So this was personal. So
Yeah.
all of this shows that you have to make your personal research very well, make it natural. See, let me tell you, when you read something over and over and over again, you might think you're not assimilating, but you will just find out that when they ask you about it, you will be sharing the knowledge. And that does not come from last minute research. Mm-mm.
Yes. It's over
It comes
time.
from
Yeah.
getting accustomed
Consistent.
to the
Yeah.
information. So you have to start now to go to that university website,
Mm.
research,
There's
and
one more thing I want to mention.
yes, please.
Interestingly, during the essays, there's a name of a tutor or professor I listed, say, for Queen Mary. And yesterday I took his class for the first time, second term, and I
Which
and I
professor
told
is
him,
that?
so it's Dimitra Gaetano.
Okay.
He lectures art and intellectual property.
Ooh.
So during the class, I walked in and it was mostly arts, and it was a separate, most of the people in that class were separate from my program. But I
Yeah.
walked in, they saw me as the odd one out. But I introduced myself. During the break, I signaled to him that I wanted to have a word. I said, "Oh, I'm here on a scholarship." I said,
Mm-hmm.
and I mentioned your name
In
in
my
my essays,
application.
and on the interview, I spoke of you as if I had met you before. I said, "Oh,
Before.
that's yeah, yeah,
Interesting. Well done. It shows the difference, okay? The
yeah,
difference between the people who get selected and the people who do not. The people who get selected personalize their experience and show in-depth knowledge. The
yeah,
people who do not get selected generalize everything.
yeah.
So yeah, okay. Mario, so one of the most frequent questions I have received from applicants, this not just this year, every year, is that, oh, Kuz, I have a conditional offer. They're asking for deposits. They're asking for English language requirements. And I know that Queen Mary University usually insists on meeting English language requirements. How did you get an unconditional offer from them?
So I had to take the IELTS. I had to take that. But when I got the unconditional offer, what I did was I wrote to them, I'm applying for a scholarship, and it's a Chevening scholarship. Obviously, I know these universities have been dealing with Chevening for long, so they
Yeah.
know exactly how these things work.
Okay.
So my advice would be, don't worry too much, because they know how the process works. So I wrote to them. I think what I did was, after getting the email from Chevening that I made it to the next round, I sent that a screenshot of that email I
Hold on.
sent to them.
Hold
Yes,
on. Was it the screenshots of the interview request, interview invite that you sent?
exactly. That's what I did. That's what I did. So
Mm-hmm.
I sent that to them. But initially, even before I got that, I had informed them. I'd
Mm-hmm.
informed them, because obviously they asked for a deposit, but I said
Mm-hmm.
I'm applying for a scholarship. And when I got the interview invite, I updated. I said, this is the position now. I've moved
Yeah.
on to the next stage. I tried to, I'm moving on to the English requirements now. I tried to find the loophole. I wrote to them. I even had the HR at my job write to them to say, oh, he's been in an English
Proficient in
speaking
English.
country, he's
Yeah.
proficient, this is the level he works at. They said no, so I had to take it anyway. And I guess that's, I wish that would not have been the case, but these
So what
things
was your
happen.
English language? Was it IELTS you took?
Yes,
What
IELTS,
was the
that's why.
score?
I had a 7.5.
Okay, that is way
Yeah,
above because I'm sure they take from 7 point. Now you guys can see that IELTS is not a dead sentence. I
yeah,
don't know why people don't like to write IELTS. Go and write IELTS. It's not going to change anything.
uh,
If you're selected for interview, it means
yeah,
you are overqualified to pass IELTS.
yes, yeah,
So please do not be afraid of writing IELTS. First of all, try to present your qualifications to them and your English language
yeah.
proficiency level. If they
Always
do not
make a case.
accept,
Always make your case. If they
yep,
don't, but
right.
prepare that you are going to take it anyway.
If they do not accept, just write the IELTS. I have seen a lot of people telling me that, oh, couscous, I have a conditional offer in this university, but they're asking for IELTS, so I want to go to another university to apply. I'm like, so you're going to miss such a good opportunity in a good university because they're asking you for IELTS. First of
Yeah,
all, universities increase, their insistence on English language proficiency
hmm,
already shows you that this is a highly competitive institution.
exactly.
And when you're able, if they even offer you the admission, they think you can get in and they just need you to meet that English language requirement. If that's all it takes, by all means, write IELTS. If you
Yeah,
cannot write IELTS, if you insist that you cannot write IELTS, maybe because of financial constraints, yeah, maybe you can apply to a school that would not insist on IELTS. So thank you for
yeah.
sharing that you wrote IELTS. However, I did not write IELTS and I went to Chevening.
How did you navigate
Hey!
that? Interesting.
Oh, how did I do that? Um, I did a lot. I did a lot. It was a lot of back and forth. I presented my WAEC certificate. So WAEC is West African.
I did that as well.
You write WAEC, right?
Yeah.
So I think that they usually need at least a B in your English language in WAEC or a high C. So I presented that. It wasn't enough. I got English language proficiency letter from my registrar of my undergraduate university. And I think maybe your background also matters. I had to do a lot of, how do I put it? I have to do a lot of selling myself. I'm a lawyer. I have been trained in law. I have done this. So I think they approach this on a case by case basis. And
Yeah.
maybe, just maybe, it was because it was COVID year.
I guess so.
I applied during the COVID year. And you know what happened?
Hmm.
IELTS exam was temporarily suspended. So I had registered to write IELTS. And
Okay.
2 weeks to my examination date, IELTS was temporarily suspended. So I used that to convince
It
them.
strengthened your case.
Yes, it strengthened my case. And I tried telling them, what would it profit you to lose an upcoming chimney scholarship just because of English language? So yes, definitely the COVID year,
Yeah.
affected their response because I know that subsequent years they really insisted on that
Yeah.
IELTS.
So let me tell you what I did. It's quite similar to what you did. I sent my WAEC results. I got the English proficiency from the university. I sent an email. I included a hyperlinks of a TED talk I'd given, of a blog I'd been maintaining, and all of that. But they said no. I'm like, okay, fine. Yes, so it was more like you said, you had the option of it was a bit lax during that COVID
Flexible.
year. So yeah, so
Yeah,
everyone, I mean,
I
you take
believe.
your case as you find it. There's nothing
Yeah,
you can
of
do.
course, of course.
Yeah.
I definitely believe you. And you have three university options, okay? If one university is insisting on IELTS and you know you don't want to write, go for the next one. It's not a dead
Yeah,
sentence.
true.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm enjoying this session. I'd like, I, if I was applying for this, if I was a Chevening applicant, I would really get value from this session.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about accommodation, okay?
Okay.
A lot of scholars, or not scholars, a lot of applicants are usually confused about accommodation arrangement. Oh, couscous, would evening book my accommodation for me? Oh, couscous. So when they get that university invitation to book accommodation, they don't do anything. So I always try to clarify the whole accommodation issue. So you're going
Hmm.
to tell us where you live and what informed your choice of that accommodation.
Okay. So I live at Stratford, in London. That's East London. So I live at the postgraduate accommodation for Queen Mary students.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but one thing I would like to state is the accommodation arrangement is quite separate from Chevening. When you are awarded, when you're informed that you've been awarded this scholarship,
Mm-hmm.
you need to make sure you take the responsibility to find comfortable and convenient accommodation for yourself, because where you stay affects how productive you are. I
Yeah.
mean, there are other people who may have family. I have loads of family in the UK, but I prefer being on my own
Yeah.
because it would help me think better. I would wake up
Yeah.
and I have more control of my time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you receive make sure you go their website, Spare Room. I've forgotten a lot of them. Amber Student. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you find accommodation that is reasonable. I mean, London is quite expensive. You will find
Yeah.
that out. But so where I stay, the arrangement is you just pay rent, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's bills inclusive, so everything else is covered. I wanted to avoid a situation where I would pay rent, I pay for Wi-Fi separately, I pay for bills. It would have been stressful, and because it's a new environment, I would not have been able to juggle all of that with school.
Yeah.
So I, for the most part, if
Especially
you
because the law campus of Queen Mary is in central London.
yes, exactly. So my accommodation is just I use the central line. It's just
Mm.
I just hop on one train to head to class. So also be mindful of the distance. You don't want to be coming 1.5 hours to class. You'll be tired because your commute time adds to or impact how productive you might be.
And not just the commute time, the amount that you're spending on commuting.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And of course, you mentioned Amber Students, who is actually the sponsor of this video.
Oh, that's
So
good.
I'm going to explain how the accommodation arrangement works for Chevening Scholarship, and then I would share more information about Amber Students, who is our sponsor. So usually, Chevening pays your tuition fees directly to the university. They don't
Yeah.
give that to you. However, they give you living, stipend for living.
Stipend. Yeah.
Okay, so once you collect your stipend, it is your responsibility to arrange your accommodation, your food, your academic requirements, every other thing outside your tuition fees. Okay, so when Chevening gives you the monthly stipend, you have to do your budgeting yourself. You cannot go and take all your stipend to pay for accommodation. You have to take care of your feeding and your transportation. So now it means you have to first determine, do I want to reside in a student accommodation or do I want to reside in a private accommodation? There is something called private student accommodation, which is complete student accommodation. However, it is being offered by private housing owners, not like owned by a university. Okay. Mario, myself and Mario, we stayed in a university accommodation, but we had to make the application ourselves because these applications have deadlines. So if you identify that you want to live within the university provided accommodation, you have to, when they send you that email telling you that, okay, accommodation application is now open, this is the deadline, you have to apply. If you do not apply,
Um,
you're going to miss the deadline. Okay, coming to our sponsor, Amber Students. Just like Mario had mentioned, I never told Mario that Amber is sponsoring. But yes, Amber Students is a platform that provides private student accommodation. Okay. So what happens when you go to the website? You are going to see a lot of student accommodation based on your location. If you are in Leeds, you go to the website and you type accommodation near Leeds. If you have your university postcode, even better. So you're going
Yeah.
to be able to search for accommodation based on your budget. So if you say, I want to live in a place that is not more than £500 because I want to be able to use the other part of my stipend to take care of other bills, okay? And you want that £500 to be all bills inclusive, you might decide to trade on distance. Okay, you can say,
Yeah.
okay, since the distance to my university is just one bus or one train, I don't mind. I'm okay, spending 30 minutes commute time, especially if I don't have to go to school Monday to Friday. So if you want to live especially in London, if you want to live very close to the university let's not even mention central London,
Don't
you're going
go
to
to
spend a lot of
Central.
money. However, if you say, okay, I don't mind spending a lot of money on accommodation as long as I'm just trekking to school, it means you're not going to spend money on transportation. So you
Commute.
have to do your cost and benefit analysis. What is your opportunity cost? What do you want? What is your what kind of comfort do you want? So now when you go to Amber Student Platform, you're now going to filter based on all these requirements, and you're going to get private student accommodation near your university. And then you would read reviews. Okay, when you see a particular property you're interested in, read reviews. What are the students saying? I know how many people ask me till Mario, do you know that till today students
Yeah.
applicants come to me and ask me to give a review of my student accommodation that I lived 2 years ago. So, people just see accommodation and jump on it. Read
Yeah.
reviews,
Read
guys. So,
reviews. Yeah.
yeah, but you're not going to see reviews for your university accommodation on the university website,
No.
unfortunately. But you can check other approved review websites. And then on
Yeah.
the Amber Student website, when you open properties or when you open a particular platform, you're going to see the reviews from students. So in the course of this video, I will paste the Amber Student link. First of all, what you can do is just go to the website and screen through the accommodation options
Options.
so that you know the kind of accommodations that are available. There is something called single room. There's something called ensuite room, standard room, premium room, a studio. These are different arrangements and accommodation types. If you're not familiar with them, you may end up taking something that is not proper for you.
Yeah.
So that's it on accommodation. I have a whole playlist on what to consider before choosing a student accommodation. So all you need to do is after this video, go to the channel, check the playlist. I also have up to 3 videos on actually how to book an accommodation on Amber Student. So yes, there you have it. This is a one-stop shop from your application to your interview to your accommodation up until arriving in the UK. Now we have the Chevening Program Officer from Nigeria on board, Mrs. Lai Oladepo. Thank you so much, the best program officer ever lived. Thank you, Mama, for joining the session. It's such a privilege to have you. Okay, Mario, this accommodation thing. Before we move, you're going to tell us what has been your experience at your accommodation. Tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly. I stayed there, so I will know.
Yeah.
So tell us.
So I live at Aspire Point, right? And the good is it's a decent building and bills inclusive. So when you pay your rent, you don't necessarily have to worry about handling other bills because it can be quite cumbersome if you're living outside
Yep.
of a university accommodation. However, and it's also close to Westfield. I mean, there's interesting things happening around. I live a stone's throw away from Olympic Park, London, which is West Ham
Yeah.
Stadium. There's a bus station. There's Westfield Mall, which is quite active as well, which is nice. It's a nice area and not too
Mm-hmm.
far from school. If I
Yep.
hop on a tube, I can be in school about 15-20 minutes.
20 minutes max.
Yes. The bad is, what's the bad? The bad and ugly, I just blend them because so there are certain maintenance issues regarding so I live on the 21st floor. right? Which has by the way, one of the good, I have an amazing view.
Mario,
Um,
you're a big man. Oh. I lived on the third floor.
yeah, it's an amazing view, so I could see, like, I could overlook what's happening in East London from my window. However, we've been having problems with the lifts. It's a big building with over, I think, over 500 students, and it's only one lift that was functional for a long time, right?
Oh,
There were times when people have been, so I think about 2 weeks ago, people were stuck in the lift. Firefighters had to come. So
oh, that's so.
actually, yes, and it was during exams, and someone joked that, oh, I could easily say I did not take the exams because I was stuck in the lift.
Well, that's a cause
Um,
innovating circumstance. That's
yes,
a valid
yes,
reason.
yeah. Yes, it's been annoying, but now two of the lifts work. Just yesterday I came in, the card, my access card, none of our access cards in the flat can open the door. So we had to put it, so it's just little
Maintenance
things,
issues,
yeah,
yeah.
maintenance issue. But that being said, I don't, it's not, I'm not trying to make an excuse for them, but I don't think anywhere would be perfect anyway.
Exactly.
Yes, so that's, I'm mindful of that as well. I
Yeah, of
only
course.
know the
There's
problems of where I'm at.
yeah, of course. There's no place that is perfect, but you have to pick and choose your.
Yeah,
Should I say your struggles? Which one do you
yeah,
want? So, which is very important to always read reviews. I
yeah.
have a video where I did a full tour of this particular accommodation, just in case you're interested in attending Queen Mary and you want to see what it looks like. You
Yeah.
can visit that video. Thank you so much for being so transparent about your accommodation. Okay,
Yeah.
now we're going to get into the proper tuning experience. Thank you. Oh my God. See, apologies. We've not been ignoring the comment section, but let me just take a few options, a few comments here, and before we move forward, so they don't pile up too much. Okay. Oh my God, there's so many questions. I'm going to be asking you these questions. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I I'm sorry if I murder your name. Forgive me. Ayo. Okay. Ayo says hello. Question one is it possible to come with a dependent like husband? Chevening will not support that financially, but if you can foot the bill, is it allowed? Do you have an answer to this? Or do you want me to answer?
Um, so I'll start with what I know, then you could finish. Yes, there's an option to come with the dependents, but like you just pointed out, the financials will have to be handled by you. So if it's something
Yep.
you decide to do, you
Mm-hmm.
would need to bear the burden of it. I know of a Brazilian chieftain who's here with his family, but
Mm-hmm.
that's because he's practiced law for a while and he can
Mm-hmm.
afford it, so that's fine. Yeah.
So the interesting part is that Chevening is a very different kind of scholarship. Okay, there are not a lot of restrictions with Chevening scholarship because I know there are some scholarships that when you get it, maybe they'll tell you that you're not allowed to work as a student, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. Chevening, when you are a Chevening scholar, you're just like every other international student in the UK with
Mm,
a
yeah.
student visa. Right? So you can work 20 hours, you can bring your dependents, as much dependents as you want. And the good thing is your dependents has the right to work full time
Yeah.
because you as the international student, you're the one that is restricted to 20 hours of work, but your dependent has the right to work full time. Chevening will, however, not cater for your dependents, okay? They will cater for you and your academics, but you will have to cater for your dependents. And when you successfully bring your dependents over, your dependents can work. Thank you, Mario.
Yeah.
Israel says, I am glad to join this live chat. Mira says, great info. Well done, guys. Thank you, Mira, for joining. Anita says, I have a question. Please, will the interview be at the British Council or it can be virtual?
So From I had my interviews in person, I would not be able to give an answer because I did not apply when it was COVID. But
Mm-hmm.
I am assuming
Mm-hmm.
when there were movement restrictions, there was the option to have a virtual interview. I had to go in person, but obviously complying with COVID protocols.
Yes, you're correct. So it depends on the circumstances. Okay, usually the physical interview is at the British High Commission in your country. A place like Nigeria, we have two offices, Lagos and Abuja. So usually you pick and choose where you want to do your interview. If you want to do in Lagos or you want to do in Abuja. However, during my time, because of COVID restrictions, my interview that was originally scheduled to be physical was rescheduled virtually. So now it will depend on the circumstances, okay? If transporting very far is not safe for people from a specific country, they may choose to make it virtual. But if you have any transportation restrictions, or you can always communicate it to Chimney, because the moment you're selected for interview, they would give you an email to message if you have any issues. So if
Yeah.
you feel like, oh, you're not comfortable transporting, why don't you discuss with them, and then they can tell you how to go about it.
But if you
Another
go for the
question.
virtual option, make sure you
Mm-hmm.
have solid internet connection. Because
Bruh. Oh,
if you put yourself through that and then the internet keeps going on and
that's
off,
on
then
you.
that's on you. Yeah.
That's on you. Okay, so
Yeah.
Ayo says, I need to know two. I need to know too. It's a 2-year visa that I don't know, but I'm going to decipher what he's trying to say. Is it a 2-year visa that is given for a 1-year MSc? When you graduate, can you stay back for a few months? So I'm going to take this question, right?
Okay.
So a standard student visa for a 1-year master's degree is between 14 to 16 months. 14 months for non-pilot universities, 16 months for pilot universities. If you want to know if your university is a pilot school, all you need to do is go online and type, is Queen Mary University a pilot school? Unfortunately, no. Queen Mary will give it's not a pilot school. So you're going to get a 14-month visa. However, your course is 12 months. So yes, if you want to if you want to know if you can stay back after your course, you can stay back up until the expiration of your visa. But please do not overstay your visa. Thank you. God bless you. Emmanuel says it is so good to be here. Thank you. It is also good to have you. Will the recorded session be made available? Yes. The session will be saved on the live part of the YouTube video. So when you come to the channel, you can navigate to the live sessions and you will see all the live sessions we have had. Ayo says, can you necessarily need to leave after the 1-year MSc? Is it possible to stay a while before the 2 years visa expires? Oh, unfortunately, like we said, it is not a 2 years visa. It
Mm.
is a 14 months or
14
16
months.
months visa, and you can stay until your visa is about to expire before you go. Oh, Anita says she had to write IELTS. Congratulations. You see, it did not kill you. Okay, so he's saying the IELTS exam, is it IELTS academics? Which one did you write, Mario? Was it general IELTS?
It
It
was
definitely has
general.
to be. Was it general or academics?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure it was the general one, no?
Please confirm with your university which one they
Yeah,
want.
confirm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It costs money to write IELTS. If you're applying for Chevening, you need to go back. It's not negotiable. You signed the contract. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anita says, what determines the choice of schools? That's if I get an unconditional offer from all three. Please, Mario, over to you.
It's up to you to decide which one you really want to attend. I mean, that's where your personal preferences come in. You might want to consider things like the location or the way the program is being tailored to suit your professional needs moving forward, or the professors you'll be interacting with, because these people are you get to have them as part of your network moving forward in life. So
Mhm.
are they leading authorities in the particular topic? So these things are what you may want to consider. But if you get all three unconditional offers, firstly, congratulations.
Yeah,
Then
right.
you would have to decide. So it's up to you.
Yeah, so actually, Chevening gives you the discretion to tell them what your first choice university is. However,
Yes,
when
yeah.
you inform them of your first choice university, the Chevening program officer has to get in contact with your university to see that they accept. Remember that Chevening partner universities have to fund 20% of your scholarship. Now, of your tuition. There were circumstances where I could say University of Manchester is my first choice. This is what I prefer. And maybe Tuning reaches out to University of Manchester and Manchester says, oh, we already have like 50 scholars. We are not willing to take
Okay,
any
so
more. And then Chevening will come back to you definitely and let you know what's up. And then they'll say, can you choose between your second and third choice university? And then you have that option. So yes, they would ideally want to give you your first choice, but also it does not completely depend on that. There are other circumstances that they have to consider.
yeah.
Do you know that during my time, because of uncertainties around COVID, there were some courses that were no longer available after the students had applied and said, oh, I want this course as my first choice. So by the time they go back, these courses are no longer available, maybe because the teaching faculty is not in UK at that point. So
Yeah.
there were so many uncertainties. But what I'm trying to say is when you have been conditionally selected for an award, Chevening will give you time to get in touch with your university, get your unconditional offer, and then they will also get in touch with the university to confirm that the university is willing to take you as a scholar. And then they will let you know before they issue you the final award letter. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anita, for that question. Okay. Inikbi Veraline. One of my universities, King's College London, kept requesting for application fees and didn't grant me a waiver. I'm yet to submit my application there. Any heads up on what I should do?
Okay, I'll start, then you could. Yeah, so certain universities require an application fee. And if you really want to attend that university, or you want that university to be part of the three schools you're applying for, you have to pay. I don't
There
think
are
there's a
ways
way
about
around it. You just have to pay. I
Chevening will
had to
not
I had
pay.
to pay for King's College as well.
Yes, Chevening will not pay application fee. The only thing Chevening would recommend or advise you is you should not pay the deposit because Chimney will not refund. But application fee, that's on you. You have to pay, or you find universities that do not charge application fee.
Yeah.
Ruth Ojo says, can I substitute more than one school during my Chevening interview? Do you have any response for that?
Can I? I'm not, so I didn't do that, so I wouldn't be sure what's the
Okay.
answer
So I'm going
is.
to
Yes.
my experience with substitution. I
Yeah.
actually substituted, like I said, like I always say on my channel, Queen Mary University was not part of my Chevening scholarship application. So, but I later applied to Queen Mary when I had submitted my Chevening application. I applied after I discovered that, oh, they also have a course I'm very interested in, and literally it ranks higher than every other one I was interested in. It was just one option. So I had to now take out my third option and bring Queen Mary as my first option. Now, if you want to substitute more than one option, you need a valid reason, and not just valid, a convincing one. And please, let me share something that I saw in my DM. Somebody comes to me and says, oh, Kuseme, I applied for pharmaceutical sciences during my Chevening application. I suddenly discovered that I have passion for development studies. Can I switch during my Chevening interview? While Chevening will allow you to substitute university and possible courses, even in the application form, you would see that you need to apply for similar courses. So first of all, whatever you're changing has to be similar to what was in your application. It need not be the same name, but the content has to be
Content. Yeah.
similar. And then you have to give them satisfactory reasons why you are switching. How much is your accommodation, Mr. Mario? Well, that would depend on, it's not fixed. It depends on the particular university. But I tell you that London accommodation is high. That accommodation is high. Would you like to share how much your accommodation is? Do you want?
I would.
You
I
don't have.
don't want to go into it, yes, but I would say a range between 5 to 7.
Now let
Between
me share.
5 to 8, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so if you go to my channel, you'll see the video I made about full tour of Aspire Point. In that video, each room I showed, I mentioned how much it cost. So you can
Okay.
go and check that.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a conditional offer from University of Westminster. The university sent me
Oh,
a
that's
link with
good.
provided by the school. Should I apply? Did you hear that?
Um, yes, you should, but it depends what your other options are. If you don't have any options, the earlier you start applying for that, the better. Because what happens is these apartments get occupied very fast. So
Yeah.
if you decide if that's what you want to go with, please move fast and proceed to secure it.
Yeah, so if you want to stay in a student accommodation provided by your university, then you have to apply for it within the deadline, because when the application timeline closes, they are not going to, there's nothing they
Hmm.
can do. If you want to apply, if you want to stay in private student accommodation, then visit Amber Students. I know I have not shared the link, I will share. However, if you have family close to where your university is, you can choose to stay with your family maybe for the first 3 to 6 months. You will be able to save cost. That
Okay.
way, yeah,
Yeah.
you'll be able to save cost. So, but yeah, you have to know what you want, and then it will also depend on your circumstances.
One upside of staying in a student accommodation that we might never want to think of is you have a community of people who can help you problem solve when things
Yep.
arise, right? So if I was staying with family, for example, if I experienced something, I would not go into my friend's room and say, "Yo, I'm going through this.
Yep.
How would I navigate this?" Obviously, I can ask these things in class, but we spend more time at home. So that's a benefit, and you get to have the student experience. Yeah. So it depends at the end of the day what you want to go for.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Estisha Achempo in the comment section says we apologize on behalf of Aspire staff.
No, Aspire has nice stuff that I would say. Estisha is good.
I love Aspire Points. I
Yes.
love Aspire Point, but yeah, like Mario said, there is no place that is perfect, but you have to read reviews and then you see the ones that have majority of good reviews, and then you can go for it. Meanwhile, Aspire Point is not the only postgraduate accommodation that Queen Mary has. There are other accommodation options as
Yeah.
well. I also showed it on my channel. I showed Stock Scott on my channel, so you guys
Okay.
can check it out as well. These questions are unending, Maru. We still have a whole lot on our list, but yeah, this is why we are here. And we have been speaking for 1 hour. I hope you
Yeah.
don't have somewhere to hurry to.
No, no, no. Let's go.
Please
Yeah.
accommodate us. We know that you are a scholar. You are busy. Okay, so Pixie says, Couscous, please give us examples of the questions we can ask at the end of interview, just to give us perspective. I beg. I have answered this question before, okay? Questions like how they actually, if you stay to the end of this session, you may pick some questions that you may ask. But I know that during my time, I asked questions like, how does Chevening support students in the UK? You know, seeing that we're international students, some of us did not travel outside our home countries before. So I asked questions like that. I even asked questions like, how does Chevening, what are Chevening expectations of us when we get to the UK? You know, those are some kinds of questions that you can ask. And I've also shared in my series of interview questions the kind of questions you can ask.
I can
And
add one to that.
yes, please.
What I did was, again, it's a conversation. So, because the British Council was folding up in Sierra Leone, what I did, I asked the one of them on the panel. I said, "Oh, it was not even a question. It was a comment." He said, "Oh, it's a shame that the British Council is closing." I said, "Because I used to go there when I was in primary school, because the primary school I attended was just close to British Council, and I used to go there to borrow movies or books. And I said, it's a shame that's going to close now. I said it was a good resource for people who wanted books and movies. And the gentleman connected, the consular officer, he connected because he knows. And the series I mentioned, it's a British show.
Yeah.
It sort of it shows that, oh, you really
You
know
know what
about
you're
British
doing.
culture, you know what
Yeah.
you're doing. And he was, I mean, I don't think anyone had asked that because it was, I say it was outside of the Chevening topic. I said, oh, it's a shame. I said, I feel really bad about it. Then he went on to say because of COVID
Mm,
and they can't maintain a small number of staff and paying for that
yeah.
big building. So
Yeah.
he had to, it's like he had
Explain.
to explain to me, and it was separate, but I know that's made an impression as well. So
Of course, that's definitely going to make an impression on me. I'm like, oh my God, this guy, where are you
yeah.
from? Okay. Iborakam says, sorry, I joined late. That is not our fault. This live session would be saved on the channel, so you can always watch it anytime. And then he says, how does one possibly navigate scholarships? Please visit my scholarship playlist. It will help you. There are a lot of scholarship options. Sorry, I joined in the oh my God, I've missed that. How does one navigate the Queen Mary School scholarship? Please visit my scholarship playlist. Israel Ojo says, is it advisable to upload the conditional offers now, or should I wait till I get the unconditional offers? Now, Chevening advises that as you get your conditional offer, you upload. This is because you will no longer have access to your application portal at some point. However, it does not really affect anything because the deadline for the unconditional offer is sometime in July. That is what they are looking for, okay? Whether you have a conditional offer or not, when you get to the interview level and you are progressed to the final stage, that is, you're conditionally selected for a scholarship, Chevening will still give you time to hustle and fight for your conditional offer, for your unconditional offer. So
Yeah.
I think Chevening gives people enough time, enough information that can take you through the process. Mario, you can't believe that we're almost coming to the end of the comments. I'm so happy. Okay. Iniqui says, I uploaded my conditional offer. I intend to upload my unconditional offer once I get it. Couscous, hope I don't make a wrong move. Please upload your offers as much
Yeah.
as you get them. You know, remember that in the application form, they would ask you, this university, do you have an offer? And maybe at that time you said no. When you get this offer, you have to go and change it and say,
Yeah.
yes,
So
I now have.
yes, and then you upload.
Yes. Okay. Is it mandatory to upload all documents before the interview? Oh, there is a document deadline. There is an academic document deadline. That is usually transcript, reference letter, and degree certificate. However, the conditional offer has a deadline in July, so don't worry about that. The unconditional offer, rather. Estisha says with students is academic. That's if you want to write IELTS, it's usually academics.
Okay, yeah, the IELTS, yeah.
Veralyn says, this is really very informative. Thank you, Couscous. Thank you, Veralyn. Pixie says, thank you very much, Couscous. 17. Thank you. Where should the reference letter be addressed to?
So you address to the Chevening, the British
Yeah.
Council. Yeah, the British
Yes.
Council, yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason I paused was because you need to write separate reference letters addressed to the
To,
universities
to
as
Chevening
well.
and to
But for
university, right?
Chevening, you have to address it to Chevening. Yeah.
So yes,
The
address it to
consular,
the,
yeah.
yeah, you can address it to British High Commission, or
Yes.
so you can address it to the British High Commissioner, or you can
Yeah.
address it to the Chevening Program Officer, which is still within British High
Yeah.
Commission in your country. So
And you
yeah,
can check the reference page as well. You can check because there's a
thank you.
detailed page which answers all of these questions. So
Thank you.
there's I'll just pivot into this, right? Most of what we're saying, the reason why we know these things now is not because oh someone had told us of it. There was a deliberate effort to over a long period of time make sure you learn the requirements So what I did was every Tuesdays and Thursdays, I set a calendar reminder on my laptop. It was called Masters. So you could name it anything, but it was 1 hour. Actually, it was Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Whenever the reminder came up, I made sure to at least do something that was geared towards my interview. And that was about a year. So for a year, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I was not always writing, but what I did for the most part, especially on Fridays, I would be heading out to go to the club or something. I got out of the shower, I just played a Chevening video on my TV as I was getting ready. At times it was your videos as well. So this is a full circle moment. And so just make sure you're deliberate because over time you get to have answers to all of these questions on your own. Also, if you can, I had for scholars who helped me a lot, who were my friends, who people I knew. But
Yeah.
even when someone is helping you, you
You
have
have to
to
do your own work.
meet them halfway. Because when you're helping someone, you need to know how committed they are. If
They are.
because if someone is in school and you're asking them questions that you can easily find for yourself, it
Questions that you
becomes a
can find on
yes,
Chevening website.
exactly. You can Google certain things. So make sure.
Questions that you can find on my
Hmm.
channel.
Exactly.
Questions
So
that I have already made videos answering, and you're
mm.
still
so
asking me.
so be very deliberate about how you go about it. I mean, if you say this one day, at times I just look 5 videos on a topic, then I make bullet points because you
Yep,
can't transcribe an entire video. But just make sure the more you look at things, the more videos you look. At times I was driving, I listened to podcasts. You see, there's so many knowledge is everywhere if you seek it. That's what
it
I
is
believe
about
anyway.
how
Yeah.
bad do you
How
want it?
bad do you want it?
If you
Yes.
want it that bad, man, you will go for that knowledge.
Yeah.
I literally chewed through Chevening. Now that when people ask me about Chevening, I talk like it's not because I'm a Chevening scholar or it's not because I work for. I don't work for
Yeah.
Chevening.
You
Most of
you
the
put in the
questions I
work.
can answer, some scholars cannot answer. Why do I answer it? Because I literally internalize the entire Chevening website.
Yeah.
I go through that website, say, hey
Yeah.
God. You know,
The uh, yeah.
during my interview, when they were asking me why Chevening, why do you want Chevening? I know that a lot of people will say, oh, Chevening is a global scholarship, it is a prestigious scholarship. They know.
Yeah.
Now I was like, what can I say to really stand me out and leave that lasting impression on their mind? So as I was combing through Chevening websites, I now discover I went to the scholars section of the website. You know, there's a
Yeah.
section for applicants, there's a section for
For
scholars.
scholars, yes.
I went to the scholars section. I was going through the events, different events that scholars attend. I was like, wow, okay. So when they were now telling me why Chevening, after I told them that, oh, I am a leader and I see that Chevening, I have been able to make the impact that meets the Chevening leadership requirements. And I have seen how Chevening scholars are being treated when they go over to the UK. I want to partake in all those events. Chevening
Yeah.
relay. I want to participate. I mentioned like 3, 4, and I saw the surprise on their
Yes.
faces.
They know
So
you put in the work when you say these things.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So if you want it that bad, you're going to go for it and find a way to stand out. And at the end of that interview, leave them asking for more. Leave them
Yeah.
saying, this guy, this
Yeah.
girl, right? Because they're going to interview a lot of people, and usually they shortlist a lot of candidates. Maybe at the end of the day, they are literally going to take like 50% or 60% of people they interviewed.
Yeah.
So you have to make
It's
that deliberate effort.
competitive. It's really competitive.
When they are selecting, definitely they cannot forget you.
Mm-hmm.
They'll
Mm-hmm.
say, that guy that mentioned that vice president, no, that guy made an impression.
Yeah.
So you see,
There was one thing that happened during the farewell event we had. Because obviously, from my estimation, I know, oh, I killed the interview. But the moment I realized, oh, they felt the same way, was the consular officer when we were all having a chat, because from Sierra Leone, it was 6 of us. And when he walked up to me, see you, I remember you. He said,
I
I
remember you,
remember.
right?
I said, oh, I'm married. He said, you don't even have to introduce yourself. I remember
That's
you because we
what I'm
spoke
talking
about
about.
movies, we spoke about the British Council, and we spoke. So he took an interest, and so
Yes,
what you want to do is, and mind you, you're passing through life. It's not just achieving. You could meet them somewhere else, and you don't know what
exactly.
opportunities because you give the impression this is someone that puts in the efforts to
Yes,
get a task done.
yes,
Yeah.
and you are an all rounder. You know
Yes.
a little
Yeah.
about everything. You know that kind
Yeah.
of. Okay, so we're going to move on now. Oh my God, this is so enriching. Thank you so much, Mario, for being so transparent and willing to help. Now,
Yeah.
I have another question here. Okay, what Chevening activities have you engaged in so far after arriving in the UK?
Okay, this is one thing I need to really catch up on. So I've only been to the orientation, and there's a reason why. The orientation was amazing, and the Chevening officer from Nigeria, I enjoyed her talk. So I don't know
Yeah,
what's the name, but
and
it was really
liar,
it was yes,
the
and
one that
what
joined us.
yes, she's really amazing. I enjoyed it. I got to meet with a lot of people, and yeah, we had good conversations, and you get to see that there's amazing people out in the world,
A whole lot.
and you are not alone, even when you're not alone in your struggles, in your dreams and aspirations. So it gives you hope for the
Mhm.
future in a way. So that was really amazing. Unfortunately, other events have almost always clashed with the class I have.
Okay.
Yes. However, the ones coming in this term, I've
Mhm.
had a conversation with a couple of people in my school, and we are definitely going to attend those as a group. So I've only been to the orientation. There's another one which meant I had to travel out of London for a while, and the next day I had to do a presentation in class. And yes, I'm really involved in the Chevening chats groups when there's time, but the grades you have to make them for yourself.
Of
So
course.
you have to balance things out. And also in the third term, I don't have too many classes, so I'll be more involved.
So, what about Queen Mary Chevening Scholars? Have you guys met yet?
Yeah, we met. We met when the program. Oh yes, that's another one. We met and we had drinks after, so it was really good. And
Yeah.
I know a good number of them in my class. There's a so the level of work it takes at times. Let me just say this. During when we got our when there was final confirmation that you've been awarded the Chevening scholarship, there's a
Mhm.
lady from Armenia who I because I realized we were in the same school and the same course. From that time, I got in touch with her. We started talking. We even had a discussion with someone who was doing the course we are doing, Sophie.
Mhm.
So,
Oh,
I mean,
somebody. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. So, I mean, I've been in touch with these people, and it's a good network. These people are here because it's not just that they're smart or they're hardworking, but they're resourceful. And that's what I find about Chevening. We're very resourceful because in a way, it's like you're a problem solver. You meet
Yep,
obstacles, you solve them. So most Cheveners, at the very least, are problem solvers. So it's always good hanging out with them.
definitely. And the good thing is that the activities are spread across the year.
Yeah,
So if you couldn't attend the one for first time, you can definitely
make up
schedule
for
for
it.
second and third term. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very important because you already know how competitive Chimney Scholarship is. And for you to be selected, it means the other scholars are also high achievers. So you
Yeah.
have to build your network with scholars. I know what I have been able to achieve because of my Chimney network. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Some of my best friends now are Chimney scholars.
That's
Now,
great.
this brings me to this question. How do you think you're different from other international students that are not Chimney scholars?
Oh, so I'm here with a global network. There's that feeling of belonging, you're not here alone. You
Mm-hmm.
have people who are problem solving in Leeds, in Sussex, all over the UK, and you might be going through certain things together. then you get to solve these problems together as a unit, as a group. So even the Chevening group at Queen Mary, we, when we get to see each other, we have a chat. Like yesterday, I was in a class and another Chevener walked in. On Monday, rather, I was having a problem with my card. Then I spoke with he's called Darwin. He's from the Philippines, so we
Mm-hmm.
had a chat. So you people lend you an air. Obviously, you can make connections outside of that, but you have a
Yeah.
ready-made connection. You don't have to start finding or
Yeah.
whether this person will help you. You know, these people are there to make
The
life
achievement
easier for
scholars.
you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We say scholar for a year, achiever for life, right?
Yeah.
So it's really amazing
Yeah.
where you have a ready-made network.
Yeah.
And if you want to go out, there's always children who say, "Oh, on this Friday, I'm going to this place." You can walk in, meet new people, make friends, and it's really good. Yeah.
Some achievers
And
are always outside. God,
exactly,
if
and
you want to socialize.
yeah, they're always out. And most importantly, finances, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know London is really expensive, but it goes a long way if you don't have to worry about where your funding is, how your funding will work, because it can be really stressful. And when I think about the course, I don't just, when I think about the money being spent, I don't
Yep.
just think of the stipend. I look at the total fee of my course.
Yeah.
It's really
Yes.
expensive.
It's expensive.
And I look at the stipend and I keep telling myself that if someone were to give you this money or do a transfer, it would be a lot, and I would be really grateful for it, and I would make the most of it. So, in
It
a
is a
way,
lot of money.
yes, it pushes you to say, okay, you have to prove yourself. It gives you a bit of a kick, because most of the things have been provided for you. So, it's all up to you to now work and make sure you prove yourself and become the leader you're expected to be.
Yes. So that's the thing, right? As a Chevening scholar, you see that you have different problems from every other
Yeah.
person. While other people are thinking of how to pay their fees, how to get jobs to survive, you
Yeah.
cannot relate.
You can rest.
You
Exactly. You
cannot
can.
relate
Yeah.
because your fees have already been paid. They are giving you money at a specific time. So it takes away that burden of, oh
Yeah.
my God, I need to work. I need to make money. I used to tell people I didn't work until maybe my third term. And to be honest,
For
people would think I'm
vibes. You did
crazy
that for
because I
vibes
did not
because
have
you
to
had
work.
time. Yeah,
My needs
exactly.
were taken care of.
Hmm.
So that's the difference. Chevening gives you that opportunity to focus on your studies, and then you can decide whether you want to work or you don't want to work. Talking about work,
Yeah.
Mario, tell us. Um, okay, I'm going to first talk about your coursework because that's the most important part before we talk about work. How do you find the academic work for your course?
Um, so if you were not here at the start, I mentioned I'm doing LLM, which is a master's in law and technology, media and telecoms law. And I
Mm-hmm.
even before, so Queen Mary was my school of choice, right?
Yep.
And I even going through the program, I loved the way it was curated and put together because I'm doing really interesting things that are new and that you see a need for. So I enjoy my course.
Yep.
Yes, enjoying it is separate from the intensity of the course because it's still a master's course. It's
Yep.
really intensive. I mean, you're expected to always be on the money with how you respond to certain things, like the level of critical analysis expected of you is separate from what is expected at a undergrad level.
Of course.
The good thing is with universities here, they make sure to provide the resources for you to excel. Like the ball is in your court. You have to put in the work. You have to be disciplined enough to make sure you make the best use of these resources and you tailor your needs to what is being asked of you. So know how to answer questions, your timetabling, how you go to classes. So it's really intensive, I won't lie. I just completed my first assessments. They were intense, but they were good because these are things like I so what was on my mind taking the exams was I was speaking to a friend. I said it's like I realize I'm being stretched to my capacity, but it's a good thing because when you're being pushed out of your comfort zone, it's the only way you get better. And there are certain things
Yeah.
now that come up. There are certain things that come up now that I can automatically come up with responses from, like,
Yeah.
oh, I know that. But it helps when you're true to yourself, like you keep on mentioning, when you select something, this is something I want to study. It makes the work a bit easier because you
Yeah.
have a genuine interest. The academic work, which will certainly be intensive, regardless of where you go, the work will be intensive. Um, so it's been good. I'm enjoying my courses in the second term as well, which I've just started. Interestingly, so there's one module I'm doing. It would be really, it's it's interesting to hear a lawyer doing this course. So I'm doing a seminar on artificial intelligence, which is artificial intelligence, the rights, responsibilities, so it's the
Yeah.
laws around that. I'm
Yeah.
doing arts and intellectual property, then I'm doing e-commerce transactions this semester.
That's very good.
Yeah, so it's a broad base which gives you a firm understanding of how things operate, and but you have to put in the work. There's no,
Yeah, no
which is why
two
you
ways
have
about
to
it.
balance your time.
Priorities. That's why they
Well,
asked you
yeah,
in that question. How do you
yeah,
balance competing priorities?
yeah,
Say,
yeah.
yeah. You have to know that what took you to UK, first
Mm-hmm.
of all, is your studies.
This is your
And then
studies,
you
yeah.
have to fit every other thing under that schedule.
It's secondary year. And you would have time when you go, I mean, third time will not be as intensive. You would definitely have time. You have about 2 months to enjoy. So just focus on what is important.
Focus
It's a
on the
step
what
by
is
step. Yeah.
okay. Have you gotten a job so far?
No, and for the same reasons,
You're a
I think
big
I've gone through.
boy. You don't have financial problems. Look at you. You're
It's
enjoying.
Well,
You're just chilling.
As you know, London is very expensive, so you have to be very mindful of how you spend. So there's no big boy necessarily, but you can't you're not in a position where you worry for your finances all the time. So that's
Yeah,
it's a huge burden being taken
taking
off of
off.
you.
Sure.
So what I've been looking at jobs that I've been on LinkedIn looking at jobs that relate to the course I'm doing now. So
Yeah.
it's more of scoping.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I think the president of the Chevening alumni in Sierra Leone spoke with a lawyer here who's done some work in Sierra Leone. So him
Okay.
and we met we met not too long ago, and he's been putting me in touch with other lawyers who I'm speaking with. So it's just
Interesting.
I'm scoping basically. What I'm doing is it's a scoping process to see where my interests lie, having conversations. There are other people I know out of the Chivney network as well. So just having conversations. But like you pointed out, third time, when I have more time, then I'll pay more attention to it. I could pick up a job and save,
Yeah.
see if I
Yeah.
can go on holidays as well and so that's the plan. But I'm taking it
One
step by
step.
step. So yeah, one step at a time.
Yeah. It's interesting the kind of network that Chevening will open you up to.
Yeah,
Like you can just one conversation can get you to meet kind of
exactly.
people that you would never think you would meet.
Yeah.
When during my time we went to the Nigerian High Commission in London.
Oh, that's
The
great.
way they attended to us, we met the ambassador. In fact, I we were able to develop relationships and networks that now one of
You
the
can
ambassador
leverage.
calls me and says,
Yeah.
Kuseme, I need this. Can you get somebody to do this for me? And I was looking back because this happened, I think, few weeks ago. I was looking back, I was like, when I went to that High Commission that day, I wasn't expecting anything. And I was just
Yeah,
very casual about it. And look at the kind of relationships that come out
yeah.
of this. So yeah, Chevening opens you up to a lot of network, good network that you should be able to take advantage of. Talking about London, tell us, what do you like about, we all know London is expensive, but London is not just bad, bad, bad. What do you like
Uh,
about London? The good, the bad, the ugly, again.
the good, London is a very diverse city. It's amazing. Like you go out, you hear all sorts of languages, and it tells you. So for me, what I see visually is there's possibilities. You see tall buildings, and it's funny how I sort of internalize these things. The infrastructure in certain environmental spaces tells you certain things are possible where you see loads of tall buildings, you see interesting architecture, you know, they believe they have a culture of pushing themselves beyond limits.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I enjoy where I stay. About the city itself, has a very good transport system. So when you come, you'd struggle a
That
bit
is why I
with
miss
with
London. I
yes,
love
yeah,
our transport
very
system.
good, very good transport system. So now, after this call, interestingly, I'm heading to Brighton, and I can do that on my own to meet another.
Yay! I went to
So,
Brighton during my
yeah,
time.
so I'm going to meet a Chevening scholar who is heading back to Sierra Leone, my friend, who helped me with my application a lot. Um, but it's really good. Then the cultural scene is amazing. So when one of the highlights of my time here has been I went to a concert by it was this Bodge, the Nigerian artist. So I'm heavily into Nigerian pop culture, by the way. So I saw Bodge, Ajibota, I saw Wizkid, I saw like most of
Yeah.
these guys. I love Show Them Camp and these guys. So
Mm-hmm.
it would not, and you see different things as theaters. I've been to the O2 last weekend. I was in a cable car ride. I've been to a couple
Yeah.
restaurants. So there's loads of things for you to do.
There's loads of
Um,
fun things to do.
I'm planning to go watch a match at Manchester United because I'm a Man United fan. I'm planning to go to Manchester
Mm,
soon. So there's so much for you to soak in. One of the funny things, because I live close to the West Ham Stadium, the London Olympic Stadium,
yeah.
when there are matches, we see how rowdy the
The
fans are.
crowd.
There's so many people in the
Oh my
trains.
god.
If they win, you know you can tell by their behavior. If they lose, you don't want to step on anyone's toe. If they lose, so it's
Yeah.
really it's exciting. It's fast paced as well because you know you see young people, and when you see young people doing well, in a way, the way I see it, say, oh, if it's possible for them, it's possible for me as well. So that's how I internalize things. So it's really interesting. Now that's the good. The bad, I would say, is you would have to let go of your local food. You will not be eating that all the time. But yes,
Yeah.
from time to time you can get that. There obviously communities from different countries in London, so you can go to that spot. You would have to go out of your way to get those things for yourself. Um, Again, the weather, you would have to learn how to. It's a period of change. No matter how you look at it, you would have to adapt. Now I
Yeah.
know how to excuse me, I know how to dress warm. I have my gloves when I'm heading out. Um, that's really interesting. By the way, one of the good things I forgot to mention, the gym I go to is just a minute from me.
Anytime.
Yes, I go to anytime.
Anytime you're still sending me SMS. I am no longer leaving. You should leave me alone.
Yeah, I love at times I've been in the gym at least at times 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm the only one that just helps me clear my head. So I've the good, the bad. One thing I really find it really annoying here, it might be a funny problem, but I find it annoying. People are on their phone and walking on the street and they're always bumping into you. I'm like, raise your head up and look at where you're going. Because everyone's so fixated on text, and
Yeah.
so that's something that's really annoying. But the bad again, it's expensive. So, but all in all, I think I like being here.
Every big city is expensive.
Yes. Yeah. I like, but
So
I like it here.
so how would you, we're rounding up. Usually
Yeah.
this is the longest live session I've had.
Okay.
Usually I try to end my live session in 1 hour, but this is 1 hour 35 minutes and we are still going.
Yeah.
Please let us know in the comment section that you have received value. Okay? Because this is long. This is, in fact, you guys have to appreciate Mario in the comment section because he is so willing to share as much as possible. Let us know that this is worth it, that it met your expectations, and it's even exceeded your expectations if possible. So, Mario, how would you describe your Chevening experience so far? Putting everything
Um,
in context.
the way I would describe it is that hard work and being disciplined pays off. That's it's rewarding. So the word I will use is rewarding, but in a way that you know when you actually are deliberate about certain things over time. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we don't live in a perfect world. Not everything will work out. But
Yeah.
for me personally, this has been my experience because there were times even when I had to rewrite essays, I had to improve on things, but it was a process. I never approached applying as, oh, I just write an essay and submit. It was never that for me. I was willing to spend 5 months improving on a 500 word essay. I didn't mind because I had nothing to lose anyway.
Yeah.
So it's been very rewarding, and I think that same mentality has helped me be very clear about the things I want. I walk towards them honestly. I break them down in bite-sized chunks, and every day I do something to contribute. So it's rewarding in a way that you can be disciplined in good things, and things will fall in place.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
One
that's
thing I have to add is that your life can never be the same again after being
yes,
a children's scholar. The entire process transitions you, transforms you to a whole new person.
yes, it makes you a different person.
The
Yeah.
things I'm doing today, I would never believe that I will be able to do them. The kind of confidence I have now, I'm like, God.
Yeah.
So yes, tuning experience is very good. So please, if you're invited for interview, make it, give it all you
Oh,
have.
yeah.
All you have, okay? Because for you to be invited for interview, it means there's something there. Okay, we're going to wrap up very soon. They're thanking you in the comment section. Mama Laya says, that's the Chimney Program Officer from Nigeria. She says a lot of value. Thank you so
Mm.
much. They're saying Manchester for life. Manchester care. Something
Yeah.
that I said I'll beat people the other day. Let's not even
Nah,
talk
like you said for the
about
children, it's a process. So we will get there
oh.
over time. It's not fast. Over time.
Okay.
Yeah, over time. Yeah.
So yeah, everyone is saying thank you so much. Veralyn, I had answered this question. I said upload your conditional offer. Keep uploading until the moment you stop having access to your portal. You are not doing anything wrong by uploading conditional offer. You don't have to wait until you have unconditional offer before you upload.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I'm going to okay. So now you've shared all your experience. Thank you so much. It's been very comprehensive. Let's say that you were resuming your Chevening application process. What would you have done differently and why?
That's
You don't have to do anything differently if you
yeah,
look back
yeah.
and think you're on the right course from start to finish.
I don't think I'll change anything.
Uh,
And the reason is,
eh,
first of all, I know there's no perfection. You
yeah,
would, as much as you try to be disciplined, you would, there are times you would falter, there are times you would stumble, but you have to keep going. And I was very consistent. Like
mm,
there were times even I had breaks. I would rather watch a video about. So I camped on YouTube. Basically, I camped on YouTube. I watched videos. I had bullet points. So my essays, how I wrote them, I watched. I'm sure I watched about 60 videos to write one essay. Articles I read, I've saved. So I made bullet points of them. And
yeah,
every day I watch something new. I internalize, okay, this is the main thing. I wrote it down. So I think I was very consistent with how I approach this. And I wouldn't change anything because if it's not broken, don't why fix it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're very correct. If I had to change anything for me, I would
Yeah.
go out more. Oh, I missed a lot of impromptu outings, social
Okay.
gatherings within Chevening scholars. Chevening scholars are adventurers. They will go
Yeah.
to, they'll say, this weekend we're going to this tunnel in London. I missed that tunnel visit until today. I regret it because I was not able to go alone. There's
Yeah.
so many places these people went. They went to Headstone, that place. I
Yeah.
did not go. Like, this had nothing to even do with Chevening officials,
Yeah.
just Chevening scholars. They just planned. They had so much
Very
fun. I would have gone out
spontaneous.
more.
At
I
times
would
I'm
have
in
gone
class,
out
I
more.
see a skip to out of London. I'm like, what?
I should
How?
have gone out more. That's
Yeah.
what I should have done. Okay, so thank you. We're wrapping up now. Please, we
Okay.
have a lot of applicants watching you. What would you say? What would you advise them? What would be your final words to them? What? Let me read the questionnaire. I said, what would you say to viewers who are expecting the achieving outcome, and to all prospective international students in the UK?
Okay. So if you've applied and you're waiting for the outcome, what one thing I would say is make sure you have all your documents organized. You want when you're if you're being requested to submit a reference letter or submit anything, make sure you have all your docs in a row. Have all scanned copies of your passport and all of these things. Have them in folders you can access anytime. Because whilst you're waiting, you should prepare your mind as if, okay, I will be called upon anyway,
Yeah,
right? So make sure you're meeting the deadlines with the schools you're to because not everyone would have applied to the schools they want to attend, right?
yeah,
So make sure you have all your ducks in a row, you have your folders ready, and it's easy to say don't worry a lot. You will definitely that would naturally happen, but make sure you keep yourself engaged, working towards achieving related things. But
yeah,
your documentation is really key. Make sure you have them. Make sure the requirements from all your separate schools, you have them to the T. Your reference letter, for example, you could modify it and make the same referees send letters to the schools. Make sure
yeah.
you adhere to all the schools requirements separate and distinctly, because if one school A says this is what we want does not necessarily mean this is what all of the schools want. Some
Exactly.
schools want a longer personal statement, some want shorter. So prepare yourself so when you're called upon, you can then convenient and confidently go to the interviews and say, okay, I've received this from this school. I even had conversations with them. So they know
Yeah,
you're not just waiting for them. So be very organized. And if you were to apply, I would say be very consistent. Don't look at it as something you're going to be done with in a week. If you want to apply, even if the deadline, if it's the portal is not open yet, you know the questions. You know the questions don't change. You can
at least
start
watch my
working.
videos.
Yes, exactly. And watch Kusuma's videos because I watched a lot of them during my application process. So, and I mean, it's not about how intelligent you are. It's just you have to be very deliberate about it. And over time, if you've done something for close to a year on your own, you will get better at it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So you have to be very proactive, okay? Do stuff. Don't wait
yeah,
for things to happen. Make it happen, okay?
yeah,
I know that a year ago, there was a children's scholar who reached out to me almost 48 hours to the unconditional offer deadline. He said, oh, Couscous, I'm unable to get an unconditional offer. I've emailed the university. They're not coming forward. And you know that summer, July is summer, and
yeah,
a lot of people take holidays that period.
yeah.
So turnaround time is longer, wait period is longer. So I asked him, why did you not attempt to get this unconditional offer since? He said that, oh, he didn't think he would be shortlisted. Wow. So you shoot yourself on the foot,
Yeah,
first of all, you disqualify yourself. So he didn't think he was going to be shortlisted.
yeah.
He was going to be considered for the scholarship, and you were eventually considered. Now, there's problems. So you have to be proactive,
You
whether
have to
you're going
walk
to
by
be,
faith and not by
yeah,
sight.
whether you get Chevening or not, get the unconditional offer.
Yeah.
And another thing you have to know is, as much as we are saying stay positive, be proactive, live in faith, you can do all of these things and you do not get Chevening scholarship.
Yeah.
That is not the end of the
Because it's
world for you.
competitive and there's a number which they can
Yeah.
give. So what would happen is, I think, and I don't speak for the body officially, but what I
Mm.
think is, if there's a large number of quality applicants, they would pick the very best. So
Yeah.
what you should aim to do on any given application is make sure you stand out, like Kusame has said, and watch all of our videos. When you're done, you'll be an expert.
Thanks for the endorsement.
Yeah.
Yes, so yes, you can do everything that you have we say you should do. It doesn't mean that you will get the scholarship, and just know that you're good at what you do. And if you cannot get to your destination using this route, you can always find a different route to get to your destination. Some people might want to go somewhere and they're using bicycle, some may be using tricycle, some may be using a car, others will use plane, others will use the seaport. So, you know, um, there is no one size fits all. There's no one way to your destination. If you cannot get to your destination using Chevening, find other means that
Yeah.
you get you there. And we
Yeah.
wish you the very best in your application. If you have not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? I can't
Yeah.
even encourage you to subscribe again, because can't you see the value? Don't you see the
Yeah.
quality of our guests on this channel? Okay, Mario, thank you so much. We have had a lot of viewers and they have
Mm.
contributed a lot. A lot of them are saying thank you very much. This is value packed. Thank you, Mario. Great talk. A lot of value. So they're appreciating you. Thank you so much, Mario and Couscous. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining. We appreciate you. Please remember to share if there are people that couldn't join, and the video will be saved on the
Yeah.
channel so that other people can watch. And if you want to refer back, you can always come back and see the video. Yes,
Mm.
Mario, we did this session for 1 hour 45 minutes. That's
Minutes.
a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
Thank you
Well, it
so
was,
much.
I would say, for me, it's more about I'm paying it forward, because
Exactly.
I got to where I am now, not because of what I know, but because of what I picked from people, and people like yourself, and I thank you. So it's me paying it forward. If I mean, it's a busy and intense course, but when I can, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
these videos have a lot of which can be shared. You, someone might at least pick up one or two. If there's one thing you pick up from it, then I
Then it's
am
good.
happy to have been to have
Of
contributed to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We wish you the very best in your
Thank you.
work. Please travel more, have fun, enjoy London.
I will.
All right. Take care,
Okay.
guys. Thank you
Bye
so
bye.
much. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye 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 bye.